Asante chief, naona chief anangoja. Asante. You can continue.
Thank you. What I want you to do is put your both hands out like this.
Sorry, director for interference. I think the person calling me is the Chief Kagemi. Chief Kagemi, and then chiefs are supposed to be government officers. So they're supposed to give reports to the president and everybody. So this team that is here, the team here, sorry for that. Hii ni timu ya nataka kusoma masomo ya Australia. Okay? So wengine wamekuja ni wazazi wale watalipa pesa, wale mzazi na watoto yao. Then we want to start a program with the Australian government where we train people here. Najua chief akiwa na hiyo. And then with us is one of the Australian marketing director of the college that we have partnered with in Kenya for the Ali. Sawa. Sawa. Sisi wamejua kitu ya kuripoti kwa mbele. Sawa.
Okay, let's start again, okay? So I want you to put your both hands out like this, okay? Away from other person, so don't hit anyone. Yeah. When I say 3, we all clap together, okay? So when I say 3, we all clap together. 1, 2. Let's try again. But I clapped, no one clapped with me. Okay. 1, 2. Let's start. 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay, so it's just to see if you're with me. So as you know, my name is Ali. I'm the head of sales and marketing. So I want to take you through the journey for a student that we have planned. And that's how in some of the other countries our program is running. And that's how the journey will look like for Kenyan youth as well, okay, who's part of this program. Now, principal have explained how the whole journey went and everything else. So I won't go into that, but just wanted to share that Dr. Bola, who's KC's principal, his son goes to University of Adelaide and he's doing management degree. But because that doesn't lead anywhere in terms of life in Australia, he took admission in one of our Adelaide campuses yesterday. So after doing all of that, whatever the principal said, he's enrolled into one of our programs. And I'll tell you why. I will take you through the whole journey, what is happening, why we are here. Okay, so that will all make sense. I'm not sure if the people online can see it. So I'm just gonna write here a few things. And then if you don't understand something, let me know, okay? And we won't stop for Q&A, but any questions you have along the way, you can ask me, okay? I have trainers here and I have potential students here. Okay, so this is... I have a red marker, but don't worry. I was always scared when my teacher had a red marker, but then it's all good. Okay, so Signet is institute based in Australia. We have 3 campuses, Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne, and we have 8 training locations across Australia. We have few thousand students across those campuses, and we teach domestic and international students. So international students like who complete their year 12 and then they come and study with us. all of these qualifications. So Signet only run vocational qualification, which is trade courses, and they all are skill based, and all Signet is about is our approach is very student centered. So everything we do is around students, their life and their career, that's all, okay? Now, we are teaching similar programs across Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, India, and we are the first one in Africa to do so. And it's efforts from the Kenyan government, and it's a collaboration between Australian government and regulatory authorities at Australia as well. So the journey has been very, very tough because there was a lot of red tape around. People wanted to know what is happening, how things will happen. Okay? Now, let's talk about opportunity first, and then we will map back to the kind of courses that you're trying to do. So what happens at the top, okay? So why you wanted to do this course, where you will end up, okay? Now, Australia take 200,000 migrants every year, okay? They are the skilled people Australia bring in every year. So our population is small, our country is big. So from Sydney to Perth is a 5 hours flight. Same distance that you go from here to Dubai. Okay? You still in Australia. So you drive for 3.5 days to go from one end to the other. Okay? But we have one of the aged population, and we have our birth rate is declining. So there is a huge gap for youth. But Australia is one of the richest countries on earth, and we are rich on the back of our exports and other technology that Australia sells. But international education is one of the key factors. Australia export $44 billion worth of international education. We don't export anything. It's just that what we teach in Australia, that costs international students $44 billion a year. Out of that is just tuition fee. So we have around 500,000 to 750,000 students at a time in Australia doing different degrees. Okay? So let's suppose if there is a guy in Nepal, and his parent says, okay, oh, you want to go to Australia, what you will study? He will say, I want to study accounting, management, all the professions that give them respect in the society. Isn't it true? So if someone is accountant, we say, oh wow. And then someone done management, BBA, MBA, all of these degrees. Now, so keep in mind, they are mainly doing these degrees. There are students come for engineering and for vocational education as well, okay, which is technical education. They need to secure a visa first and then pay the fee. After that, they need to complete the course and then go on a journey to work or to find a life in Australia permanently or in New Zealand. Okay. Now, let's go back and say these are the international students present in Australia, and this is the number of people who are coming in every year. So now all of them, they are not skilled. Out of that, maybe 70,000 is skilled, and family of 3 or 4, they are coming with them. So 7 into 3, that's around 200,000 people. That's families plus skilled people. Okay? But out of that now, they have increased this quota to say we need more and more people to come and do the jobs which our youth is missing to do it. For example, now Australia needs 1.2 million houses to be built yesterday. Because of last 20 years, we have a regular migration of people coming in between 250 to 300,000 people coming every year. Just a skilled permanent residency I'm talking about. Students separate, work permit separate, training visas separate, other role visas are separate. This is just only people who's coming permanently here to Australia. So they've been coming regularly, so Australia falls behind building houses. So 1.2 million. Now in Australia, if one house is getting built, there is 26 different kind of trades people who needs. So you say bricklayer, wall floor tiling, plumber, electrician, roof, fabrication, and carpenters. There is about 26 trades that gets involved. Okay? Now, what happened is, in the previous years, because of as a rich society, lot of youth who was coming out of schools in Australia, Australian government pay them to go to university if they are a citizen. So what they did is, they started to go into universities too much and started to do the degrees, what I call is no use. You don't need a license. To write a poetry, you don't need a license, right? So what I'm trying to say is, always look for something which other people just can't learn and do it. So they need a license or some kind of a qualification. That's why then you are separate from them, okay? So what was happening is, they're going to uni, vocational education was getting low, so we started to get more and more students here who were also going for higher education degrees. So what happened is, but as I said, students come for vocational as well. So you can go Canada, Europe, and then there is countries like, at the moment is like Nepal, India. There are few countries who's level 2, and there is countries level 3 like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Kenya, Uganda. So if it's level 1 country, it's very easy to get a visa. If it's level 2, it's hard, but you might get a visa. But if you're level 3, it's very hard to get a visa, especially for vocational education. Because they know that if you do a vocational, it's more working there. So you may be looking for work around in these countries, that's why you are here. So it's very tough for even level 3 countries. But let's suppose if you make an application. So that application will look like that you have to pay $2,000 non-refundable visa fee for a one student visa. It's 2,000 Australian dollars to just apply for a student visa to see if you get it. Okay? Then you buy plane tickets, which is 2,500. That's 4,500 just to secure visa, get a flight and go. Plus you are paying for your health checkups and other things. So you get to around 2,000-3,000. This is your basic cost. Plus, bricklaying costs 27,500 over 2 years in Australia. This is what Signet charge. 27,500 over 2 years. This is what is the fees look like. So you say 27,000 this, plus you add 3 more, and then obviously you got to live there as well. So you add around $90,000 on a bare minimum to live there for 2 years. So 90 and 30, this is $120,000 to get a qualification, maybe as a bricklayer or wall floor tiler. Then what's next? Because now they are qualified. They need to look for work, and they need to look for a visa which is now expiring. So what they will do is, they will look for an employer who can employ them and sponsor them. Okay? Everybody understand until now? Yeah? Yes? Okay, good. Everyone looks so serious. Either they're listening or not listening. Okay. So, I'm just trying to build a whole situation in front of you so you could realize where we're coming from, what we're trying to do. Now, because there is not many coming here, and we need 26 of those to build these houses where the students will come from then, or where people will come from. So what it said, out of that 200,000, government say 65,000 is just for trade. No other, no doctors, no nurses, no one. We need 65,000. In that, they said we need 7,000 bricklayers, we need 7,000 wall floor tilers, and all of that is 65,000 total, minimum. 4 years ago, 10,000 bricklayers needed from worldwide, people who wants to be this part of this cohort. From Australia and from abroad, there is only 320 applications came. Very low number. The reason is that if you are a qualified bricklayer in your country, either from Africa or from Asia, you are not able to qualify for that. This one. Because your qualification is not recognized. So those 300 people were coming from Europe to just for a better weather and a career opportunities. Okay? So, when they are not going, we have vocational gap, and visas is tough, it's expensive, so then Australian government have an initiative, it's called TNE. It's called TNE. So it's a transnational education. And transnational education is that institution who is based in Australia and they deliver fully accredited qualification in other country than Australia. So fully accredited means that it's not Signet qualification. It comes from Australian government endorsed, and the curriculum comes from the government as well. So every student will have a USI, which is a unique student ID. We will register that student in the database. Kabete is one of the campuses already registered in Australian government's record. Now, if the Australian government wants, they can come here tomorrow and check everything what they want to do. Okay? Now, those students who is coming to Australia, they are going on one journey. But there is another parallel journey that transnational students goes on. Because they both have now accredited qualification. There's no difference. They are not, so non-accredited means, let's suppose if I say non-accredited, there is few institutions who will say, I will do some online training and you get my certificate. So if the certificate is coming from Signet, it's non-accredited. So USI will be registered, and every qualification in your life you will do from Australia, that will be registered against that unique student ID. And anyone, any employer from anywhere in the world, they just need to go on one website and say this is the person we are trying to hire. If their qualification is done, they can get verification. There is no other questions asked. Okay? So they both are at the same stage. Now what's next? But before we go in, like Chief Principal said, the pay scale is very different in both countries. Here, a qualified bricklayer or engineer earns less, and if you see Australian job market is very different. So I think if you go on a Google today, you say how many bricklayers needed, just do a Google search, maybe they will say 3,000-4,000. Okay? So they need to, so the journey is fully accredited qualification. You are here in your home country, your qualification is recognized. Same guy comes out, all that. Now, these people need work experience in order to be part of this. You understand? So what they will do is they will do work first. They will do work first as well. So they need to look for employer as well. So they both are in the same situation. One is paying fraction of the cost and other one is paying $120,000 minimum. So there's a huge difference. So this initiative came, then we can train people offshore and then move them into different countries to get a job. So Australian qualification accredited is recognized fully in 36 countries across the globe, including Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Canada. Germany is, we don't say for job purpose because the language barrier is there. When I say recognized means that you can find a job there. You don't have to sit any other lessons, you don't have to do any gap training, nothing. You will be accepted as fully qualified person. Does everyone understand? Yeah? Now, these are the visa different streams a qualified person can go for in Australia. It's 5. So all visas is different, their requirements is different. So once you graduate, what are you looking for? Once you graduate, what do you want? Good. Does anyone else? After graduation, what do you want? A job. Okay. So all of our aim is same, that we want jobs, yeah? Okay. So these visas is available for people who wants to work in Australia. Okay? You've done your qualification. You know these visas is just for Australia, then for New Zealand, then for the 36 countries. If I tell you the opportunity is there, go and get it, you will be confused, isn't it? You don't know how these visas to apply, what to do, what employers is looking for. So we have a solution. There's a part of Signet which is called Signet Employment Hub. They are a group of experts who have employers on board, and they connect our only Signet graduates with the employers. And we train according to the needs of the employer as well. So employer says, okay, I need this many people. And then employment hub team says, okay, we have this many, this is their profile. So they match them, and then they will get them to get the job support. So Australia, New Zealand, and across other countries. So this is the key factor in this whole equation, starting from having a qualification, which is at a fraction of a cost under T&E, to be, and then once you have the jobs, the experience, then you can, if you want, you can apply for skill migration program in Australia, in Canada, in New Zealand. It's up to you. Now, I said vocational is all of this. What about this one? When I said a lot of seats from here is going for this part, or a lot of employers who's building these houses, they are not looking for accountants or these management people. They are looking for people with real skills in their hand. So who are like, say, bricklayer or wall floor tiler, okay? They pay good amount of money to have it. Now $26 per hour is a minimum wage in Australia, whatever you do. Whatever you do. If you're a barista, you work in a restaurant, whatever you do, minimum is $26 an hour. Okay? Median pay in Australia is $75,000 a year. Median pay. That maybe most of the Australians take home. A bank manager earns around $90,000 a year. And bricklayer earns around $105,000 a year. Why? Because these skills is in demand. We don't have people to do that. You can't train just like that a bricklayer. They have to have a qualification to do the job. But I can train any manager. I can get them in the business. What about accounting? That's a good profession to have. So, out of that 500 to 750,000 students I said, only in Sydney there is 25,000 students studying accounting in different colleges and universities. Who's coming from different countries? Who wants to be either work or settle in Australia or New Zealand, right? But if you are a chartered accountant in Kenya, you are a chartered accountant anywhere in the world. So it's a global body who can recognize your qualification. So what happened is when Australia said we need 10,000 accountants, other 190 countries, all the aspiring accountants said let's go to Australia and work there, live there, apply. So we got around 5,000 applications per year from there and plus 25,000 who's graduating every year. So how many? 30,000. How many places? 10,000. And if you compare with bricklayers, how many? 300, 600, compared to how many needed? 10,000. That's why there is no problem finding an accountant in Australia, but there is a huge problem finding these trade people who's going to build houses, maintenance, do other stuff. And Australia is an inclusive society. We don't say that this profession is not respected and this one is, because that can reflect in the wages here. And this is not exaggerated. This is common knowledge, all of it. You can do the research. So what I'm trying to do is just build a profile of a student, let's suppose, who either want to go directly or stay here. But the end comment is that these qualifications will give you a license to do something very particular, which can't be done with AI at the moment. And there is a huge demand across those 36 countries. So once you have that qualification, you overcome the challenge of spending so much money and getting that qualification, and then you transit into employment, and then you find your own country of choice and settle. Does everyone got it? What I'm trying to say? Good. So we are starting with the bricklaying and block laying, wall floor tiling, and some health courses. So I talked about all of these, but due to the age population, Australia is suffering with the shortages of aged care work. We have huge population of aged people who are looked after in 2-3 ways. So we have a scheme called NDIS. Every disabled or old people comes under that scheme, and everything is paid for them is through the government. So if there is a disabled person, then if they call someone to cut the grass for their house, take them for shopping, support them with daily living, they all are professionals under aged care, and they get those companies get paid to the government to look after those disabled. Australia spent $21 billion per year on their disability scheme, where they are paying all professionals to look after those old and disabled. So it's a serious talk, but the opportunity is huge. If you go into other prospects of engineering and that, yeah, there is opportunities available, but the gap and the demand is in the location. Does anyone have any questions? Do you understand? Okay.
So, questions?
Very
You
serious.
ask questions?
is very.
I know I went out, but I've learned something when I've come back. You see why we are doing skills is because the demand is there.
Yeah.
And we have been explained about the demand. And you see the pay, I was not cheating, 75,000.
No, you wasn't. So
Yeah.
75 is median pay, and then it's 105
So
for
75,000 times 85 shillings in Kenya, that is what I was telling you, 6.2 million. I tend to believe that 90,000 is times 81, 85. I tend to believe it should be something 700. I tend to believe the other one is almost close to a million. So you have been guided on that. That is not to attract or to do anything, but that is a reality. So questions, you can now direct the questions to the person. We are here, the coordinator is here, I'm here, and Signet is here.
So all
Guardian, wala guardian unaweza uliza maswali. Naona kijana anaambia mamu, wewe mamu siulize. Wewe siulize. You are the subject. Brian, wewe uko na swali? Mwaki na stima. You know, some people ask a question, and I know I can see some questions. Mwangi, you are in electric. Automotive, you are good. I can see hospitality somewhere. They are asking, when is this hospitality? Hospitality is detailed, and what is the demand there?
Yeah, hospitality is huge. We receive more visitors than our entire population every year. Australia is very famous for their tourist attractions, especially we have warm weather. So, and the other big thing is when the whole Europe is very cold and there is snow, Australia is warm. So we have a reverse weather. So when there is a snow happening in UK in December, we have a peak summer in Australia. So December, January, February is the hottest months that we have. So a lot of people travel from Europe, from other countries, just for a sun and to celebrate Christmas in Australia. So there are huge opportunities in hospitality. The courses that we will bring that will make you into cook, chef, and restaurant managers. And clearly, Chief Principal said that he was asked to recommend or source someone who can be a restaurant manager, and then he were able to find person, and then they are already in the process. So the demand is there, but that person qualifies over a lot of years and with a degree. So, but then other people who wants to do hospitality, we will bring in courses. Now, if you remember, I said all of the courses that we run in Australia is for 2 years, but they come only 2 days a week. So in Australia, in Kenya, we are doing it for 52 weeks, which is intense training, 1 year, and you are fully qualified. One thing I just wanted to share is not with Australia or New Zealand or the countries that you're trying to go for work, they are not about what level of education you have done. So this is important. So if you have done certificate 3 for diploma or advanced diploma. Now bricklaying, you can do only Cert 3. There is no further qualification. It doesn't mean that this qualification is less than a diploma. So that certificate 3 makes you eligible as a full accredited bricklayer. That course is for 2 years. So is the diploma is for 2 years. So you can't judge people on base of their base qualification. It's either Cert 3, 4, it depends on which kind of trade they are in. Okay? But next level is, once you complete Cert 3 in block laying, what is next? You can work as a bricklayer, but then what you want to be a builder, licensed or be a developer in the future, then you need to do one part diploma and then you get a license. So base qualification is technical. You will learn a lot of hands-on skills. So if you hear that you're doing certificate 3 or what I will do, probably I need you to do cert 4 diploma degree. No, that makes you eligible to get into the employment, and that's the maximum qualification you will do. Like for cert 3 and 4 disability and age care, that's the maximum qualification that you do.
Maybe I ask another question for you, because I can see you are not asking questions. Us in Kenya, when we work, sometimes we expect from where we start, we are promoted. There's the issue of advancing. How do you maybe do it with this qualification? Because I tend to believe maybe if I come there at 26 years or 26, 27, maybe at 33, I'll be
how the progression is look like. So once you start working, let's suppose this is, I said, it's a fully qualified. Let's suppose you go there, you're working. So this is the minimum wage, but the laborer starts at 35, okay, per hour. Then as you progress, you will get to $50, and then from 35 to 50 is about 2 years of worth of work, of a journey. So even though if you go at a base level, it's a very decent pay to have. This pay is someone who are fully qualified, administrator, worker, managers, all of these works. Okay, so you start at a very decent level. profiles to the employers and try to connect with them. So once they are connected, then they get an interview and then they get a job offer. So this